Right, we picked all these chilies and peppers. I picked these yesterday and I have to do something with it. So I'm thinking we are going to freeze dry some of these chilies and making chili powder and chili flakes, and I'm going to freeze some, cut it, blanch it and flash freeze it in a freezer and then put it in freezer bags, and I probably do the same with the peppers. So let's do this. Welcome back to Adri's Homestead Life. Today we are going to make a chili sauce from my Paul's book, Grandma's Chili Sauce it's called. Also we've picked so many chilies. I'm going to freeze dry some and we're going to freeze some, and we do the same with the peppers. I've got all different, I'll show you in a minute, my table. I've got all different varieties of peppers and chilies, and I'm gonna do the same with the peppers as the chilies. We're going to freeze dry some and we're going to freeze some. For freeze drying, I would like to powder some after and leave it in as a chili flake, and with the peppers I'm just do like a strips, and then we're going to use it in soups and stews. Also, I am making chicken soup just behind me on the pot. In the pot we've got chickens from previous butchering. I've just took it out of the freezer. So we are making lovely chicken soup. At the moment the chicken is sitting in there in lots of water and an onion. I left the skin on the onion, that gives lovely colour for the soup and flavour. So that will simmer in there for the rest of the day because I don't really need the stove that much, only when we're gonna do the chili sauce. I'm going to put some carrot and some tomatoes in it and some spices later. Let's cook. Look at my table, look all these beautiful chili varieties and peppers. There are all sorts, you know, I cannot even remember quickly. I remember a few one. Remember the życiowa, what I've made smoked paprika powder with, and the Christian yellow, that's my spiciest one, that's really, really spicy. We've got the black Hungarian chilies. We've got a few jalapenos, not much. I picked lots of jalapenos, but we've got a few. They turned to red now. So these ones are the jalapenos. And what's very similar to the jalapenos, I think, is Nigel's chili. Looks, I think they are these bigger ones. These are the Nigel's chili. Yeah. And with all the other peppers, you know, I've got so many different. This is a chocolate one, Napier. I've got so many different varieties. I have to check my notes because I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm really happy with the harvest, and we need to preserve it now. Right, I've washed all the chilies and took that green stem off of every single chili, and I'll tell you what my plan is. I've got all the jalapenos here, most of the jalapenos in one pot, the życiowa paprika pepper and few more varieties, I can't remember, I'm not sure, maybe a few jalapenos and Nigel's chili I've got in this glass bowl, and then in here I've got the very hot Christian yellow, I've got some black Hungarian, I've got some jalapeno, I've got cayenne pepper, and my plan is with these, so I'm going to fill probably, I don't know how many trays, 2 or 4 trays of the freeze-dried trays, because I've got 2 freeze dryers, and I'm thinking we either fill the one whole freeze dryer with chilies and another one with peppers, or we're gonna do 2 trays of chilies, 2 trays of peppers, and we freeze the rest. Probably the plan B I'm gonna do. So I'm going to chop this, leave the seeds in, and just chop it a little bit in a food processor, in my blender, and put them on a freeze dry trays and freeze it overnight, and tomorrow we freeze dry it, and half of it we powder it and half of it we leave it as flakes. And this is gonna be a very hot chili. With the życiava and the rest in here, I'll do the same. I'll blend it a bit, and I'm gonna put liquid smoke. I might put liquid smoke on the mixed chilies as well and the życiava, because this one I'm going to powder as well. With the cayenne pepper, I probably cut this in half maybe, or just go put it through the blender, but only like pulse it a little bit, because I would like to use some of these as, you know, fire water, and either powdered or chili flakes. We'll see. So that's the plan with the chilies. I'm going to then put through the blender, we fill the freeze dryer trays, we freeze it, and then we are moving on to the peppers. Right, so cayenne pepper, the życiava and the mixed chilies are all chopped up, and I'm going to pour some of this liquid smoke over for extra flavor, and I'm gonna give a good mix. I'm experimenting here. Right, and now we're going to fill the freeze dryer. Just the level of that rim. We don't want to go any higher, and this will take a very long time because it's got the seeds in them. So, but that will go to the freezer. I'm gonna freeze it first before we're gonna freeze dry it. I cannot wait to try this when it's done. It's already smelling delicious. Alright, and do the rest. Same with the rest. Doing the same with the mixed chilies. This is going to be very spicy. And then a cayenne chili pepper. Oh, we're ready to go to the freezer. Okay, we are going to make the grandma's chili sauce next. We just talk about the ingredients first. I have got, I'll show you in a minute, 16 cups of tomatoes. I've put them, I washed them, chopped them and roasted them for a good 40 minutes on high, and I will put that through the sieve. So we're gonna use 16 cups of tomatoes, 6 onions, because I've got quite a large size. I've used 4, and we've got a couple of green, the recipe says 6 green bell peppers and 2 red bell peppers. I've also put a few jalapenos in there. Lightly packed 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 cloves of garlic, so I'm gonna use about maybe this much. So that's how I store my garlic cloves, by the way. Store such a long time in a glass jar in the fridge. And then asks for a tablespoon of fresh horseradish. So I've just dug up some horseradish from the garden and I've just grated some. So we're gonna use a cup of, this is about a cup of grated horseradish. I haven't got celery salt, so I'm just gonna put a tablespoon of salt. I'm going to measure out the spices. Tablespoons of salt and a tablespoon of mustard seed. Tablespoons of mustard seed. Asks for an extra tablespoon of salt, because the first one should have been the celery salt. And then we've got 1 teaspoon ground allspice. I have to ground this. Ground allspice, ground mace, and a tablespoon of cinnamon. So I'm gonna do that. And then 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna put through the tomatoes. Let me show you. I put the tomatoes through the sieve, and then I'm going to take the seed and the core out of the peppers and the chilies, and I put that through the blender with the onion, chop the garlic, horseradish is done, yeah, so that's it basically. So I'm going to put most of the ingredients but the spices. I put the mustard seed and the salt with the rest of the ingredients on a stove, and on a medium-high heat I'm going to cook that for 1.5 hours until it cooks down. After that I'm gonna put, you know, the mace, the cinnamon, the allspice and the cloves, and I'm cook it for another maybe 30 minutes. We'll see how the sauce thickens up before we put them in the pint jars. I've got the pint jars in the dishwasher. Recipe says 7 pints jars, I've got 8 just in case. And yeah, we fill the jars and then we're going to water bath can them. I forgot to mention that we need 2 cups of white vinegar. So I'm going to use 8% white vinegar today. And we're going to water bath can them for 20 minutes. Let's put this grandma's chili sauce on a stove. So we need 1 cup of brown sugar. I think that's 1 cup. 1 cup of brown sugar, 16 cups. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna put 8 cups because this has been more than 16 cups when I put it, you know, when I chopped it up and I measured it out. So put 10 cups of strained through roasted tomatoes. Then we need the onions. So I'm just going to measure it out like that. 1, 2. Didn't chop it up properly. 3, 4, 5 cups of chopped onion. and then green and red bell pepper. Let's put this in here. Let's see how much is that after we've chopped it up finely. 1, 2, 3. I think it's gonna be 4. 4. So we've got the tomatoes, the onion, the green bell pepper, red bell pepper. We need 2 cups of vinegar, white vinegar. So 2 cups. 1 and 2. 2 cups of vinegar. I've got the chopped garlic in here and the salt, and I actually blend the mustard seed as well, so that can all go in. 1 tablespoon of grated horseradish, nearly there. So got the sugar, garlic, horseradish, salt, mustard seed. Okay, I think that's it for now. We add the spices later on. I'll just wash my hands, tidy up the table, put this on a stove, and we're going to cook this on medium heat for about 1.5 hours. So I'll give it a good stir and it goes on the stove. Right, while the grandma's chili sauce is on the stove and boiling down nicely, I'm moving on to the next project, dealing with all these beautiful peppers. I'm going to steam blanch these peppers before we freeze it. Some of them goes to the freeze dryer, so I probably put 1 tray for the freeze dryer because we filled with chilies 3 trays already, and I probably don't want to fill the other freeze dryer full of peppers as well because I would like to freeze some. So I fill 1 pepper with 1 tray, with peppers, and then we're going to steam blanch, flash freeze and freeze the rest. So I've got my pot in here. In the bottom of this pot I have got some water. I'm gonna bring this up for a boil, and I'm going to wash these peppers, cut them about 1/2 inch thickness, take the seeds and the stem out, and we're going to steam blanch it for a minute. We just stir it halfway through, remove it, and I'm just going to put them on like a kitchen towel to dry for a good 30 to 60 minutes before we flash freeze it, and then we're going to put them in the freezer bags. Meanwhile, I will chop some up the same way, and then we're going to flash freeze it only, and it goes to the freeze dryer. You're probably gonna laugh, but that's what I'm doing every single day, most of the days. Not every single day, that's not true. I'll have a rest day as well. But I was thinking, so all the leftovers from, you know, the tomato sauce, what we strained through, and a little bit of an onion, a little bit of peppers and chilies left, and garlic. I've just chucked everything in this pot, and what you can see now, these are freeze-dried tomatoes from last year, and I'm thinking of making like cabbage and tomato soup. So these are the leftovers of the cabbage from when we made the sauerkraut, and I just could not fit these bigger leaves in that small crock pot. So I was thinking I'm gonna use this up a like cabbage and tomato soup. It's gonna be delicious. And I've just made a lovely sourdough bread this morning, and we've also got some naan bread going as well, so that would just make a lovely dinner. Remember, the chicken soup, it's nearly done as well, so you can try a bit of that as well. So I'm just putting all these in there, and that can cook down nicely. I'll probably put a bit of salt in there, salt and pepper for now, and then we have a taste test as it goes. and we'll see. It's a quick meal, and it's quite a lot, so we can probably make it as a freezer meal as well. Right, Grandma's chili sauce is ready to put them in the jars. It's actually, it was more than an hour and a half. I think it was more. I cooked it down about 3 hours, so it's really nice and thick now. And we're gonna leave 1/2 inch headspace and put it in a water bath kind of for 20 minutes. The water's behind me now, it's boiling. These jars just came out of the dishwasher, they're nice and warm. And the sauce is nice and warm, as you can see it's still steaming. And I've got the lids ready. Wipe the jars, put the lid on, and can go to the canner. I'm also making a sourdough bread, and I'm on a 3rd fold now. Sometimes I just take it out like that. And just fold it on the and put it back. And this is the last one. And then we're going to form next. That goes on the side for now. And we are going to do these 2 freeze-dried trays with these peppers. So I've cut these peppers up for about 1/2 inch strips. And I'm going to fill the freeze-dryer trays just up to that rim and put it in a freezer. And we can put all together with the chilies to the freeze dryer tomorrow. So just try to fill it in like this. I've got actually loads, so I might, I might do some more. I might do another 2 trays, I think. So altogether we're gonna do 4 freeze-dried trays full of peppers. The next things in my mind what to do freeze drying. I need to do the garlic and the onion. Okay, so that's it. Can take this to the freezer. So the 20 minutes is up. I am gonna take the jars out of the water bath canner. I've already took it off the stove and been resting here for 5 minutes. Now they're ready to come out. And we're going to rest in this kitchen towel for overnight. And it's already sealing, you can hear the seals popping. And we check tomorrow. And take the ring off, the brown ring, and go to the pantry. Pop in. Right, the water is now boiling in a steamer. So I am ready to put these peppers in for 1 minute. Put the lid back on. Right, 1 minute's gone. Now I'm going to stir it and give it another minute.
Flash freeze it.
When you just freeze something quickly until it's frozen in one layer, and then you just pop it up and put it in a freezer bag so they don't stick together. Because if I put this now in a bag, they all freeze together, you know, and if I flash freeze it, then I can just take them apart easily.
Ah, now I understand.
Today I'm going to shred some courgette, and because I still got one tray, freeze dryer tray, free from yesterday's chilies and peppers. So before I start the freeze dryer, I would like to shred these 2 courgette, and then that will fill one of the last freeze dryer trays, and that will be a full load of 2 freeze dryers. The grandma's chili sauce, it's now ready to go in a pantry. So I had a good seal, all jars had good seals, I wiped it, and this is now ready to go. It's a little bit on a sour side. I think the vinegar I've used probably would have been, next time when I do it, I probably, you know, either swap the vinegar or reduce the amount. But it would make, it's still delicious, and it would make a lovely base sauce for stews, soups, chilies, you know, lasagna, curries, so that will be just fine. And I've also, look, just took it out of the oven. It is very hot still. It's lovely sourdough bread. Whoops, nearly lost it then. So yeah, let's shred these zucchinis, courgettes, and put it in a freeze dryer tray. The sourdough bread I've made this morning, it's here now, cooled down. I've put this in this plastic bag. I wrote sourdough bread on it, and I'm going to freeze it. So on one of those days when I haven't got a time, I can just pull it out of the freezer, and that's gonna be amazing. Let's put it in the freezer. I hope you can hear me. The one freeze dryer is still going, one's just finished. So this is the mixed chili. It was frozen and it took about 20-22 hours to do. Some courgette, shredded courgette, the życiava, you know what made paprika pepper with, and then the cayenne. So we're just going to put them in jars now, and then we're going to deal with them later. From the cayenne, some of them I'm gonna probably crush it, powder it. Some of them will make fire water for us. The życiava will go. It's got the liquid smoke on it. It smells smoky, delicious. I'll powder that probably. And this mixed one, it's probably flake and powder. The courgette is just gonna go in jars for storage, and that will make stews and soups later in the winter. Right, all the chilies are now in jars. I'm not going to vacuum seal them because I am going to use this up, either powder it or as a crushed peppers. You know, one of the most important rules in preservation, label your jars. So I've just put życiava on this. This will be a powder, the cayenne, and the courgette. So yeah, I'm happy with the result, and I haven't put extra time on these chilies, although they had so much seeds in them, but probably when I'm gonna process it, I'll remove some of those seeds and I powder it and will use it up within you know, that 6-12 months mark. The freeze dryer is defrosted. So I'll hope you enjoyed the vlog, the making and preserving the chilies and peppers. The peppers, I flash freeze them and they came, you know, apart beautifully, so I've just put them in a freezer bag. I've labeled them and then they are now back in the freezer. So whenever I need some peppers, I just take out whatever, you know, how many I need. Well, see you very soon.